Welcome, Gaurav. This is the ABAIA Community Podcast series, and every week we call in members from the community and talk to them about what's up, what are they doing in the AI space, be it a company owner or AI engineer, could be on the technical side, entrepreneur side. I think you've got a very interesting profile. I think the AI use cases that you're working in bio health or healthcare, that is something which is very fascinating. Uh, do you think we can get extinct animals back?
We are very much on the way. I think another 2 years, maybe 2-3 years max.
And you'll be able to get extinct animal back?
Provided we have the DNA. Of course, it is already work going on.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's.
Hmm. So tell me a little bit more about
Won't
your
be
work.
exactly that species. It will be across how genetic engineering is working. So of course, but then by and large, yeah, whatever. I think there is a lot of investment as well going in that direction. Yeah.
I had read a post just last week where scientists have gotten woolen mice. So they put the mammoth genes into a bunch of rats, and now the new bunch of rats who are coming out are fully covered with fur.
Yeah.
So that was a very funny, but potentially it got me thinking, yeah, if they're going to cross pollinate these different species, what is the future of this? This could potentially be dangerous. You never know what new diseases it might bring, or I don't know how it affects the food scale.
But if you look at it, this this has been going on for millions of years in nature, of course. That's how different species have evolved. Lot of, uh, but nature, of course, when nature does it, it happens over a period of millions of years.
Yeah.
But yeah, here it may impact. But then again, as long as everything, at least good part with this is there are very um, strict regulations around containment. So it's not that you can create something and let it loose in the wild.
You never know. I don't know. Some scientist in China is now I don't know, a sheep and a lion, and I don't know what crossbreed that brings.
Yeah.
So
But
Gaurav,
China is even more regulated that way. Yeah.
sir. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about your body of work.
So we are a life sciences AI company. What we do is we help big pharma. So big pharma is a term which is used for the uh, the largest 30 pharma companies globally. So we help them with drug discovery and development, and whatever we do, the end goal is to bring down the time and effort that's going in to the drug discovery and development. So that's where it is. We are cutting down uh, the time and effort that is like it may take up to 10 to 12 years and almost 2.5 to $3 billion. So we are aiming that if we can bring it down by at least 40% over a period of years. So that's the target.
So a lot of entrepreneurs who even come in here, they have been working in their industries, in their respective industries, and transitioned into the AI application of it in the last 2 years. So have you also always been in life sciences, or is this something
Yeah,
more
we
recent?
started with focus very on life sciences, and again, our thesis has been very much around data. We have been a data first company right from day one, and hence we were able to become an AI first company. Like we have been working on AI for almost a decade now, more than a decade, in fact. So the early models that we developed were back in 2013 itself. Yeah.
How was AI back then? 2013 AI मतलब क्या है?
Didn't have the buzzword and the sexy term
It was
AI.
not cool to use AI.
It was machine learning.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. In fact, we started using machine learning very early on, and that's where our customers told us, oh, you guys are doing AI. So I think in 2015 or 16, that's where we said, oh yeah, we are doing AI.
So your customers told you, oh bro, that's AI.
Yeah.
So you are essentially into drug development or drug discovery.
Drug discovery and development.
And development. Okay. So how does this process work? Like, does a big pharma come to you and say that these are the areas we want to focus upon, and then you do the deep dive research? Or
Both ways.
Both ways.
We, of course, since it's a small universe that way.
Yeah.
As I said, just top 30, top 50 companies globally.
Yeah.
Which do that, right? So it's all known. So we talk to them, and they talk to us both ways. And now at the scale at which we are working, where we are ultimately helping them is looking at their pipelines. So every company has a drug pipeline which will which may have hundreds of drugs at any point of a time. And what we tell them is, we will look at it and we'll tell you which drugs will work, which will not. Right?
Okay. Yeah. And that suggestion or that advice comes from your own research of, like, how do you inform a big pharma that these are the ones that you should focus on, these are the drugs? Like, what is the
so that's
end?
where AI is.
Okay.
Right? Typically, see, all of it has been going on for decades. That's how we see so many novel therapies, novel drugs coming on. But largely, all of it, the process has been very manual. So, like, okay, if I have to walk you through, you'll start with a typical company, a pharma company which is working to bring out a new drug in the market. Somewhere at the beginning, they will start with almost 250,000 compounds, chemical compounds, or whatever. From there, they will start narrowing down. You'll come to a set of 50,000. Then you will come to a set of further, 5,000, so on. What you do is essentially you form certain hypothesis. So where it starts always is at the disease. It's like technical term is indication. So you look at a disease, for example, and again before that as well. Ultimately, it's all commercial. So a pharma company naturally looks like, okay, which is the disease area, which disease where there is a huge market.
Okay.
In the end, because they have to make money, right?
It's a business, yeah.
And again, market, when I say, it's also, like which disease is there, which is
more prevalent,
which is going to be a lot more prevalent, and going, the incidence rate is going to be higher, like just going forward, right? They're able to, because they are able to see the data. Right? So, for example, lung cancer. Right? Now, in lung cancer, again, there are subtypes. Right? There are different kinds of lung cancer.
Okay.
Right? Any pharma company would look at, okay, fine, this is the underserved market. Still a large market for me, but it's underserved. The current, either there is no therapy, or the existing therapies are, are not giving that kind of a result. Right? You choose that area, then they will say, okay, now in this area, I'm going to work. So then you will start with 250,000 compounds, narrow down. You will try to understand, okay, if, so first you need to understand how that disease itself, like for example, the cancer, how does it develop? Like what happens internally in the body?
Yeah.
Those things are by and large, largely these are known, right, in research and everything. Yeah. But then again, you would want to understand that, okay, now, what, for example, a lot of these cancers develop due to certain thing which is called mutation in the gene. Your gene changes, right? Does something funny, something happens. Now, and it won't again be that mutation in itself is causing something. There will be, it's like a chain reaction. If something happens, one thing changes inside the body, something else changes, and so on. And you will see the signals, right? So that's where like the diagnostic space comes in. And then, you would like, okay, now if this is how it's progressing, then how do I attack it? How do I try to cure that disease or to stop its progression? Like in cancer, cure is a different thing, but being able to stop the progression, like being able to, if it's a tumor, if you are able to just arrest the growth, that also is good. Right? So depending on what you want to achieve, do you want to cure, do you want to arrest the growth, do you want to extend the life of the person? Because that also, here in these cases we really talk about that success, that if there is a new drug where you are able to extend the life or the survival rate just by, let's say, you are going to give 6 months more to the patient, that's a huge thing. So depending on what kind of a problem you pick up, then you form a hypothesis. Based on that, you start figuring out if this is what is happening inside the body, how do I stop that? How do I stop that gene from mutating in that way? Right. Now, if I have to simplify it, it's like imagine a jigsaw puzzle. There is a piece of that puzzle inside your body. Right? Let's say there is a protein somewhere, right, wherein you want to design a drug that goes there and fits in a way that it stops what it was supposed to do, which goes on a cancerous journey. Right? So it is, in the end, it's all a pattern matching problem, large scale. Now in this as well, when you are trying to narrow down, you will run simulations. You will try to see which drug will really be able to target that inside the body and what ways. So you will start iterating through the different compounds, thousands of compounds, right? Then you have to figure that, okay, maybe this is giving a good result, but in the end you also have to see, it's like it shows that it may kill the tumor or it may arrest the growth of the tumor, but it may happen that it's also then maybe it's killing the good cells as well, or in the end it's killing the human itself, right? It's not curing, it's like it's killing, it's killing you and hence cured, right? So you have to study those aspects as well. And then there again, there's a whole family of models that we have, which is like right from given a new drug. So it's called absorption, metabolism, excretion, toxicology, distribution. How it goes inside the body, how it's metabolized, like what's the toxicity. So there is whole family of AI models which are there. This entire thing used to happen manually. Then it transitioned, over the new methods, and then again, based on research, based on what available research, scientists used to go through the research papers and either validate or negate the hypothesis, and then finally you had to prove it in the lab. So you could take a tiny amount of the drug, put it in an actual cell, and see what's happening. Right. So a range of things, all of things. That's where each of these things ultimately generate a lot of data. Right. And if you are doing it manually, and that is why it takes 12 years. And I'm not even going on to the clinical trials. The clinical trials, yes, they will take their own time. It's like 4-5 year time, definitely, right? So all this journey, at each point, how we look at it, these are problems. We have broken down into small problems. For each of the problem, in the end, for us, it's a data problem. Either we have to use the data from let's say a previous step, bring it here, and then see what's happening here, and then again generate some data out based on what's going on. And that is where for each of these we have different AI models. Now it could be predicting something, or it could be even generating something like part of prediction, but yeah.
So generally, when people think about a data model, they're thinking of a ChatGPT or Claude. Do you use any of these LLMs as a foundational model, or is there any bespoke, tailored
for
foundational
us
model?
the foundation models are different.
Yeah.
So like something latest which NVIDIA in collaboration with Arc Institute
Yeah, I
released
read about
Evo 2.
Evo 2, yes, yes.
Right. So for us, that's the foundation model,
Foundational
which is
model.
more relevant.
Okay.
Like, so the entire Bionemo stack,
Yeah.
everything that's there, that's what we use. And
Is it like a regular LLM? Like you can just go to like how I
no,
can go
these are not language models.
Okay.
It's a foundation model, but
Yeah.
it's not all foundation models are language models.
Okay. Okay. So, but then how does one interact with them? It's a text-based one that you put in your input some problem and it researches the database.
Yeah, in the end, yes, the interface is via,
Okay.
but again, it's multimodal. Like for Evo 2, it is even that you can input a part of the sequence as well, and then see something.
If I
It's going at that level as well.
If I put my
you
blood
have
results.
you have models wherein you can, like we ourselves have the model wherein you can upload the chemical structure, and again in different forms. You can even we have a model wherein you can draw the structure, chemical structure, and it already understands like what compound you're talking
Okay.
about, kind
Wow.
of.
Yeah.
And then or you can give there is a
Yeah.
format, smile format, and you can give the structure. So different formats you can
Yeah.
give the structure,
Yeah.
and then it will tell you what also. Depending on what kind of input. So text input is the simplest.
So you're developing a foundational model as well.
Yes.
And it's in line with Evo 2 or some particular use case?
No, with us, what we are focusing on, it's more the term which is used in the industry, it's real world data, which is a fancier name for patient data, essentially.
Okay.
So data that is generated in the real world by patients with patients, essentially.
Okay.
Right? What you are trying to see, because in the end, as I said, when you are starting with 250,000 compounds, the entire journey, all of it, at all points of a time, you want to understand any drug, how it is behaving inside the human body. That's it. Yeah. Because time and again, and more interest that is coming on now, and in fact, the entire body of work that we do is that you may have thought of this drug from the prospect of attacking a particular disease in a particular way for a particular population, for a particular geography. I'm oversimplifying it. I've just spoken about maybe 4 parameters. There are 400, and you could change one or more of these, and you could say the same drug which you thought will work for, let's say, Alzheimer's, can work maybe better for a different disease.
Okay.
And this is what, so we call repurposing, or we call it repositioning. Because repurposing is slightly only when we are only looking at the successful drugs, and then you are trying to while we are looking at even failed drugs, so-called failed drugs. When, because you had started with the assumption that this drug will work for X disease, along the way you found maybe it's not giving you good enough results. You shut down the program. Now you have already invested few millions into it. That's your sunk cost. We are the ones who are helping you recover that cost by telling you that, okay, this drug is a dead asset for you, but there is another company in the world which needs this kind of a drug for a different disease, for a different kind of a population, for a different market. And this would be something which this company won't be interested for whatever reason. It could be commercial reason that for them that market is small. For them this disease is not the focus area. Right? So they will give, or I should use the word license out. They will out license this drug to that company.
Okay.
And make money.
Yeah.
Right? And this happens a lot within the industry.
Oh, okay. So then you come in as a consultant. Can we say that? Like in
say a broker.
A broker.
Because we are on both sides.
Okay.
We know whatever you have, who needs it, right? And we know as well that whatever you are looking for, who will have it.
So my hypothesis was I'm making a drug for malaria. Eventually I realized नहीं यार ये नहीं काम कर रहा है. You will come to me and say नीरज ये मलेरिया के लिए तो काम नहीं करेगा. But maybe ये डेंगू के लिए काम करेगा और यहाँ काम करेगा. So I can license this drug to another company.
Correct.
Okay. But even for this, you need to have a strong understanding of different drugs, markets.
Yeah, everything.
So this is where also AI helps you
Yes.
in just making these hypotheses.
So this process that I
yeah.
told you about, out licensing and licensing.
Yeah.
So one if I talk commercially, it's a $50 billion per year opportunity, right?
Yeah.
This is what this is the deal that happens every year. Now, typically this process of out licensing and licensing, it takes around 32 months. That's the industry average. I'm not even talking about maximum
Okay. Yeah.
amount of time.
Yeah.
It's the average, 32 months.
Yeah.
We are able to bring it down to 2 months, right? So from 32 months to 2 months.
Okay.
Right.
And
What it means,
yeah.
one, the drug which was supposed to be out in the market 3 years from now will be out now. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So patients who were waiting for something
Yeah.
probably would have died. Now they will be able to get this drug, right? And for the pharma company, it is the commercial value of those almost 3 years, like 30 months, right? 30 months of worth of commercial value is a lot. Could be in billions.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so you were always in this industry? You were always in
Life sciences, yes. That's been the focus right from the start.
And what's your academic education? Was it some of these science centric courses? I don't know.
Yeah, very, very science centric. Aerospace engineering.
Oh, wow. Yes, almost. Yes, I can see that. How did you go from aerospace to biotech?
I didn't go into biotech, honestly. I still say for me, my heart was in compute, and that too, actually, the hardware.
Okay.
I fell in love with NVIDIA GPUs back in 2004. It was for gaming, of course.
For gaming, yeah.
Yeah, but then yes, I loved hardware.
Yeah.
I started tinkering with hardware, and then I got into software, and that's how it's been. For me, it's only data and compute that I love, and this was the life sciences part. It was just when we were starting, Gunjan and I, we wanted to look at what kind of a problem would we want to solve that will have a huge impact. And this came across because in the journey, the trigger was Gunjan's first boss and his mentor and a mutual friend, I knew him as well. We saw him go through the journey of cancer.
Okay.
And that's where had a trigger that this is a problem that maybe that will have a huge impact if we are able to solve it to some extent even. And that's where we had started. And all this while in our journey, we have lost our loved ones. We both have lost our loved ones in the family to cancer, and that's what it still it strengthens our resolve that no, this is the problem which we definitely have to solve.
Okay. Have you heard about this company called Cortical Labs?
Yeah.
Just last week I was reading about them that they've made a synthetic biological computer. What does that mean? Because I just read the article overall, and they said that they're using brain neurons for computing data. That totally went above me, but it's very intriguing nonetheless. What are they doing?
If you think about, see the next, everybody has been just talking about quantum compute.
Yeah.
But what I feel, and a lot of research is going on, people agree that the real big thing will be biocomputing.
Can you explain?
So biocomputing is wherein you use the building blocks of life for compute itself. For example, your DNA can store humongous amount of information. It's literally that a human body could possibly store, and it's theoretically, in its DNA, the entire information that's in on the earth today.
Okay.
Yeah. Just your DNA, right? And same so what they are doing is, they are looking at that we've been, of course, everybody now knows like neural networks, and the inspiration was from our own brain, right?
Yeah.
Neurons, and now we are reaching a stage wherein yes, you can actually, because synthetic biology, meaning you are able to now grow cells, right? And when you are able to do that, then yes, we have been using a lot many cells like stem cells and all
Yeah.
these in therapies for many years now.
Yeah.
It's there. Then why not grow simply neuron cells and use them for compute? I mean, as an idea, yeah, it's that simple. That you are able to have neuron cells and actually compute with them. There's something that people have already showed that DNA can be used for storage. DNA can be used for compute as well. It's already being
Yeah.
so there's very exciting field of work on biocomputing.
So if eventually biocomputing comes in, I think a lot of our energy problems that they're forecasting with AI,
Yeah.
it will be like almost vanished.
Yeah. Imagine the Matrix world.
Huh. It's almost like a sci-fi film.
Yeah.
Are there many companies in your space right now, like integrating AI and biotech?
So where we fit in is just about a handful of companies, just about globally 15-20 companies.
Globally, not even like India.
No, in India there's only us.
Your
Yes.
own, okay.
Yes.
And is there a reason why there are just like, well, almost like 50, 60? Is it too high a barrier, or is it too technical that you need a very specialized set of education and experience, perhaps?
If we would have known
Huh.
that it's going to be this difficult, we would not have done probably.
Too late.
So that's how it is. It's immensely difficult,
Okay.
right? All of it, and it's not just. So I'll say it's still the technology part of it. It's still easier, probably because I know it and I come from it. It still is easier. The biology part of it it's simply unpredictable. It's like you can continue with our hypothesis and be absolutely sure, but then something goes off and there's and that's when you discover, oh, this is how it does not work. Right? And so it is just that in the end there could be the amount of risk that is in there is just very high in terms of like for us, just the clinical trial prediction. So to say, it's a very simple model. First version of it came in 2017. Yeah. And we thought, oh, we have conquered the world. Right? And when it really started solving problems, it was already 2019, wherein it got to a scale. Again, we thought, oh, okay, now it's done. But then again, so much has been changing in AI, so many things have been coming, and we naturally, oh, now it can actually do more and more and more. There is no end. Now, imagine that it has been in production, but still we are able to, because there is so much progress in AI now, we are able to still improve it more and more and more. Getting to a point wherein given, if you tell us about any clinical trial, we are actually able to tell you whether it will succeed or not. And don't take our word for it, or even our customers who are using it. That model is actually being used by a fund to trade in listed pharma stocks, and they are making money.
But this is more finance than.
So
no. So a model you made is being used for a trade use case.
Yes. Because it is able to predict the probability of success for clinical trials.
Okay.
And for pharma stocks. A success or a failure of a clinical trial can literally, get your stock to zoom or dive completely. It's like the volatility that it introduces is just huge. You may literally reach a level where you may go bankrupt, or you may, like, all of a sudden your valuation could go through the sky. Right? So and that's where, if we are able to predict this event, very well in advance than for any fund, and that's what they did. That they were able to take positions very well in advance, knowing that okay, this is going to be a success or a failure.
Okay. So
And they've beaten the benchmark by consistently by more than 14%.
So I think, are you taking royalties on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now in fact, there are more funds.
Yeah.
And that's what we realized that
Yeah.
there's a lot more that while we are solving problems in life sciences, it can solve probably bit more of problems in the
Yeah,
world.
there could be a wider use case to
Yeah.
it. So, Gaurav, in many ways, the promise of AI was the democratization of data. Like, for example, when ChatGPT came out, a plethora of entrepreneurs started exploring it and built companies on top of it, right? And then obviously there was a wave and there is a recorrection, but nonetheless, I know a ton of, and especially in the community, there are a ton of these new age entrepreneurs or veteran entrepreneurs, businessmen who are looking to build products or services on top of these LLMs
Yeah.
or any AI infrastructure. Uh, do you think this same will apply to life sciences? That will you see more entrepreneurs? You said only right now in the world there are 50, but do you foresee, let's say in a decade, that will go to 150, 200, 300 new age entrepreneurs?
We wish definitely, and I see it happening. There will be only still the challenge remains that one it's a very closed kind of universe. As I said, only just let's say top
Is there a
30,
lobby of
50. See, I mean, lobbying is human nature. Wherever you are, you will always, you will have always lobbies. But here is fundamentally, it's that it's a small set. The set of people who come with that kind of experience, who have worked on such problems for decades,
Yeah.
is very very small. And as I said, it's not only a technology problem. In the end, there is science, biology, more, and then engineering. So it's given the complexity. Like when we say really, I just yesterday only was telling somebody that in our team, when you say scientist, could be we have data scientists sitting next to uh, an actual scientist
Okay.
who's double PhD in molecular biology or,
Okay.
or what, right? So that's how it is.
Hmm.
Unless you are able to pair up in that way, right? There is nothing that you will be able to move, because otherwise, like AI, yeah, you can it will give you all sort of signals, but then it was like one example, like the molecule example, like in between there was a lot of surge and AI can design molecules and great, oh wow, people miss the point. Yes, AI can give you new structures and everything. Point is, see, are you even able to synthesize it?
Yeah.
Right? It will give you some fancy molecule. You said, oh, this will solve the problem. How will you synthesize it? If you are even unable to even get that molecule out in the real world somehow and make it stable, right? Forget about that, the promise that it shows. So that's how there are lot many things, and that's where it is. That's why, in spite of all the best efforts, so much of investment in US, Europe, still the number of companies who can actually marry AI and life sciences, and still it's small, because again, it's not only AI that you need, it's not only science that you need, and that's what is a tech biofin,
Wow.
because it's commercial as well, because in the end, and we have seen there have been teams, really some of the best teams in the world, right? Scientifically and even technology wise, but still they failed. Why? Because in the end, if you are not able to make it commercially, nothing will work. Right? In the end, see, you will have to make a model which works commercially, right? Because that's what we say, that pharma is globally, it's not really looking at a challenge from a science perspective. It's really more engineering and commercial. Like engineering, it's still it's solvable. Commercial is very difficult because that's why there are debates in India. At least we see, oh, there are drugs which cost like crores. Why is it so? Why are they not reducing the price? You don't understand. It's not in their hands at all. It's like it's their survival. If they are not able to make money, the company shuts down. Then there won't be any new research. There won't be any R&D. There won't be new drugs. Right. So somehow they need to get that money back so that they are able to invest it further into research. There is no other way, and that's the way where we are attacking that. If we can bring down the overall cost and the time, it means that the overall price of the drugs and therapies, it will actually come down. That's where we are.
And from a concentration of power perspective, do you see any market leaders in this space right now? Any particular geographies? Like when you say, I use a lot of AI, but I use it in the media context. So I feel, hands down, the models coming out of from China are better than any other model coming out from a US or a Europe. Hands down. वो comparison का कोई वो baseline भी नहीं है. So in life sciences, is there any geography or a country which is like coming in as a superpower?
It's still US, but very soon I think we already see China is coming up in a very, very big way. It's already, if we look at drug discovery of it, China has come up with so many things and so much acceleration, so many companies. In all the conferences, my team and everybody says that it's all you see is China.
Okay. Bapre.
Yeah.
Is it concerning? Is it a little concerning?
Honestly, no, because see politics and geopolitics aside. See, in the end, it's really how it works in science, research, engineering, all of it. Eventually, the best man wins. That is how it is. You can't. It's like you can't stop it. There is no way. Because it is open. It's not that China is not public. I mean, people call everything that DeepSeek did this and it's hiding, and they've actually open source. They've published everything, and so are like the number of publications coming out from China, number of patents coming out from China, huge. So they are publishing. In the end, that's how, because see, we have to forget that we are looking at China. In the end, what you are looking at, people. Right? Those are the same people, like somebody is working in research, has more or less the same aspirations as a researcher sitting in US, India or Europe.
Okay.
What do they want? They want, yes, I want to be the best author, in this journal and this publication. I want to put, in a publication, here in the best journal. That's their aspiration, right? And that's why they're working hard. Same for if you look at companies. The competition within China is so cutthroat, you can't imagine. It's not that that DeepSeek is there. No, there are 10 companies, and they're like the margins on which they are playing are extremely thin when you look at it from US perspective. So of course, it's like each one of them, they're actually fighting for their own survival. It's not that anybody is looking at grand ideas, we'll beat US. No, they are busy fighting amongst themselves.
Oh, wow. That really pushes the innovation bit. When the competition is so
competition
fierce.
is
Do you think that is what India lacks?
Yeah.
That we don't have good competition within the Indian ecosystem?
Good competition, and second, what Sanjeev Sanyal recently had said, poverty of aspirations.
Poverty of aspirations.
Yes.
Okay.
We are too caught up. This is going to be controversial a bit, but we are too caught up, still in the roti kapda makan thing. Still like, all aspiration to do something big, to really build something, it's a larger population is still lacking. That's the fundamental problem that we are looking at. So like recently, even Mr. Uday Kotak, he made that comment that even if you look at the youngsters with money, the youngsters who are inheriting money, they are not keen on really, doing big things. They are still like, yeah, they are becoming more like fund managers. That's not what wealth is supposed to do. Like, I mean, it's not, whatever people would want to believe or call. See, look at Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's still, at that level,
Yeah.
conversations in India, you will always like, oh, if I had that kind of a money, I'll retire. That's the problem,
Yeah.
right? He is pushing the boundaries on multiple fronts.
Yeah.
He is working so hard because he is passionate about solving those problems. That is something, population percentage wise, we lack. We don't have enough of such people who can actually push themselves really hard and take that ecosystem around and look at hard problems. Right? Solving hard problems is still something which probably, one is lack of belief, because that comes from the baggage that we haven't been, that's how we have been as a country. So you don't even think, nahi, ye to hum nahi kar sakte. Right? So don't even say, like Sam Altman came and mocked us, and and everybody fell for that narrative.
Yeah.
I could hear so many VCs and industry leaders talking about, yeah, he's right, we should not invest that. Bullshit. That was the point when DeepSeek started working. We should have started working on that. That was the point. Right? Because he was just trying to set that narrative because he did not want competition from India.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody would have been in his shoes, I would have done the same because I don't want competition. I'd say, no, it's not for, no, don't do that. Use my service.
Yeah.
So that's what China, didn't believe.
Yeah.
China, and for China again, what worked was like they could see the sanctions coming, so they said, okay, we don't have an option, and they saw that as an opportunity.
Yeah.
That okay, now we won't have these big giants playing here, so it's an open field for us.
Yeah.
So we will get ahead.
That is true, like, because multiple people come here, multiple entrepreneurs in the space come in, and wanted to ask you, what is your idea on AI startups in India getting government funds? How important is it? Is it important?
Oh, it is important. Funding in whatever way is important.
पैसे जहाँ से
Money
भी आए.
matters. So really.
But should it be like a private sector first approach or a public sector first approach?
See, there are certain fundamental investment that only a government can do.
Yeah.
That is like, and see, for anything, it's like, if you just think of the infrastructure, why as a nation now we are ahead on fintech, why we are actually leading the world today in fintech,
Yeah.
because government chose to invest early on DPIs in form of getting the entire jam stack, so Aadhaar itself was a huge investment, getting that infrastructure, and then slowly getting UPI. So that's where that's the thing which only a government can do, and then that's what I think it's now, at least it's happening. Should have happened sooner, but fine, at least it's happening now. And there again, see, if you look at, I think everywhere, US, Europe, or even China, whenever it is about emerging tech, it's always been government funding. You go back, all the way up to going to the moon, or even internet, or mobility. All of it emerged only from government funding. That is what made it possible in the first place. Right? I mean, entire GPS, of course, was for US military. But see, that's how that level of investment needs to happen at a government level, and then the private players can come in.
Yeah. No, agreed. You were recently part of the NVIDIA panel.
Yeah.
How was that? And could you tell me a little bit more about your future? Because you said that you are again heading for the NVIDIA conference. So how important is NVIDIA in this entire AI bio field? Like
super important.
Is it that like it is the foundational block?
Yeah. So I say that for AI you need three things: so people, data, and compute. Right? So talent that that you need to develop those things and make it work, and then the right data sets and as much as data that you would want. But it's also about having the right data and compute. I think just earlier today we were talking. I think a lot of companies who actually uh, underestimated compute.
Initially.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of people underestimated compute, and that's where people who understood it were able to beat others. Right? And that's because see, it's not about now as we see, right, that there are certain things that actually have that emerge. Once you have that kind of a compute, the model changes. Like for example, when we demonstrated that something called a virtual drug screening, wherein you are able to screen uh, almost 6 million molecules, and that process itself with conventional way wasn't even attempted early on. Later on, when people started, it was a huge project, like which could run literally, using supercomputers for like for almost an year. We recently did it in a few hours, right? A few hours. So you can imagine that your team, what they had to wait for months and almost a year to get that data so that they can start working. Now you can have that data tonight. That changes everything. And that is possible only because of compute. And that is what people didn't really think, that kind of an acceleration. First, it is possible. Second, it will accelerate everything else. And that is where I think a lot of people underestimated. And Nvidia is super invested, in everything. And healthcare is what we see again and again. It's top of Jensen's mind, definitely. And so talking about the panel, it was a digital biology panel, which was part of and was led by the head of digital biology at Nvidia, Anthony. And so that's where I spoke about what all we are doing in drug discovery.
What's
and
digital
AI.
biology?
As the name suggested, so biology, but more looking it completely from a data end. So all of it, like we are in a way you can say, fine, not the folks who will sit in a lab, but yes, who will sit just in front of the screen. So that's the part.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this conference that you're attending in US.
Yeah. Now that is the Nvidia GTC.
Yeah.
So GPU Technology Conference. That's a flagship event of Nvidia. Happens in US every year. So yeah.
So what are your expectations out of this conference?
Oh, we are going to meet a lot more people. So I have a session there, and then have a couple of posters as well that were selected. So we as a team, we are going there. And we have a booth as well, Nvidia Inception, as part of Nvidia Inception program. We have a booth. So we are going to talk about what all we have been doing, and especially about the foundation model that we are working on. Because for that, now we are looking to collaborate with all of the top hospitals and research centers in US. So that's what we are going to talk about.
And these foundational models, once you've built it, the idea is to license it out, or what's the idea behind that?
Yes, eventually, yes. How we are thinking, one, that if you are able to really solve the money problem in a big way, we would love to really put it out in maybe even in open source. That we are actually considering it, because the kind of acceleration it can give is huge. Right. So if we are really able to reach that point wherein we don't have to shortchange us in the short run, we'd definitely love to open source it. But even otherwise, we'll continue working, and the idea is to license the model, as well as letting people build on top of it. That's the whole idea.
Okay. In media, I'll tell you what's happening because of these tools, different tools. A smaller agency is able to give out an output what generally or historically a much bigger agency would. So, do you see this happening in health tech as well? That eventually you don't need the $1 million infrastructure set up maybe in a China or a US, but smaller agencies with the tech can come out with drug development or let's say even new discoveries.
But that's what exactly is happening. That's where we are.
Yeah.
The people, even our investors, and otherwise people are actually surprised and shocked at what we are able to do at a fraction of the cost that others worldwide are doing, and that's what is happening, and that's where we still see people amazed at that how we are able to do all of it sitting in India. Because typically we are nowhere in that.
But even in India, one might assume that this is happening in Bangalore.
Yeah.
From an optics perspective,
Yes.
right? अगर आप मुझे पहली बार
I have to actually explain every time. No, we are not in Bangalore. We are in Pune, and the definition of Pune is it's 2 hours from Mumbai.
yeah.
So yeah, that's how it is.
But that's so pleasantly surprising that this is happening in Pune. Do you see a lot more innovation coming out of the city in the AI space?
Yeah. I'm hoping for, I'm wishing for, I'm rooting for that. We have all the right constituents. As I said, people, data, compute parts. People, I think we have amazing talent here very much. It's no different than Bangalore or anywhere else on the world. Right? Again, what I said, most people don't even know. NVIDIA came to Pune, not Bangalore. NVIDIA had started its first office outside of US, and the first major office was in India. It was in Pune, very much in 2004, and nobody knew him. Nobody knew NVIDIA. Nobody knew really. It's like just before NVIDIA got all that hype. It wasn't even news that Jensen used to come to Pune and go, and nobody even used to know, right? So that's you can imagine all of that, all of those chips that are coming out, and a lot of work has happened very much here in Pune. So we don't have it. We have such big laboratories here, Institute of National Importance, the defense, all of it. We have the right mix. It's just that we need people that they should be willing to take that risk of really looking at hard problems.
Gaurav, this was a very, very informative, enriching talk because you're the first person from the biotech space who I've met at least. I've met a lot of people. Many of them are working for use cases in the manufacturing sector. I myself am doing a lot in the media sector. I've met a plethora of people, but first time from your sector. For any entrepreneur, young entrepreneur who's looking at this right now and thinking that I'm interested in biotech, I'm interested in AI, what should be my first step? So what would you tell them?
Advice-wise, I think the best piece of advice today would be just look at the NVIDIA stack. Really, there is so much. There is so much in there that you can do just using that. And of course, all of the stack is available for free. GPU credits and everything, now government has done a great job. It's going to be there. So all you would need is so again the people, data, compute part. Compute is taken care. Data, just get the right problem statement. Doesn't even matter if it's a right problem. Just pick up a problem, pick up a hard problem, start working towards it. You will figure out how do you get the best data for that. And then just get a good team. Team which would be passionate in working with you, as Jensen himself had recently he had mentioned that when he was asked this similar question, what would you wish upon, or what would you want, or for the Stanford students to do? He simply said, I wish upon you suffering and pain. Right?
Okay.
That's what it's about. Right? We should be willing to really suffer to solve that problem.
On that note, thank you so much for your time. We had a lovely time, and all the very best for your conference.
Thanks, Neeraj. Thanks for having me here. Thank you.